So for a full year, I dived super deep into the world of Amazon FBA, and if you're thinking about getting into it yourself, then I highly recommend you watch this whole video and listen to all of the tips that I'm about to share with you. Now, for those who don't know, Amazon FBA stands for Fulfillment by Amazon, and it's a service that allows you to sell on Amazon's platform and have Amazon take care of the packaging, the storing, and the shipping of your product. And this means that you'll never need to go through the headache of actually sending out any ordered items to your customers, and gives you the added benefit of offering prime shipping on your listings. So I got into it initially because I loved the idea of how passive Amazon could become, and I'd watched so many YouTubers up until this point talking about how much money they were making with Amazon FBA, and it gave them the freedom and time to spend their days doing what they loved. And on top of that, I also loved the idea of creating my own brand by private labeling products that I would then sell on the platform. And I think the creativity involved in actually doing that is what made that business model really attractive to me. So at the start of 2020 and 2021, when I started my Amazon journey, I set myself a target of hitting at least 5K a month in profit, which I knew at the time was very achievable. And so for a full year, I set out to learn as much as I could about Amazon FBA and how to grow a successful Amazon FBA business, from product researching to sourcing, listing optimization, and even understanding Amazon PPC to drive as much healthy traffic to my listings as possible. So the plan for this video is to talk about my successes and failures with Amazon FBA and all the lessons that I learned from my own journey, and hopefully that will give you some insight that you can apply to your own Amazon business to not make the same mistakes that I did. Okay, so let's start off by talking about the positive things of Amazon FBA. And the first is that you are playing on the biggest online marketplace platform out there. It is not the same as starting your own Shopify website and then trying to launch Facebook ads to get traffic. With Amazon, there are already millions and millions of people on the site every single month searching for all types of products and are actually interested buyers. So for example, let's take the term collagen powder, which gets approximately 250,000 searches on Amazon every single month. So if you were planning to sell collagen powder, all you need to do is successfully rank on that keyword, get onto page 1 of that search, and you'll get a good amount of sales that's coming through that traffic every month. So this is all to say that the traffic already exists, and you just need a product that is superior than the alternatives on the market, and that traffic will convert into sales for you. And so this is why I've listed this as the first major benefit of selling on Amazon, because the platform already has interested buyers swarming around. Whereas if you were to create your own website and sell products that way, you'd have to find a way to bring traffic to the website, but on Amazon, it already exists. The second major benefit of Amazon FBA is that it's extremely scalable, and you don't have to deal with any of the fulfillment yourself. When you order bulk from your manufacturer, they will ship it directly to Amazon's warehouse, and there can be a bit of a hassle in getting all those things set up initially, but once your products arrives in Amazon's warehouse, you'd be super surprised on how streamlined the whole process is from there on out, because everything is taken care of for you. Every time a customer then orders a product, Amazon will package it, ship it, and they'll even deal with any returns if your customers aren't happy with your product. The third benefit of Amazon FBA as a business model is that it's super competitive. Now, depending on who you are, this may be a positive or it may be a negative, but I personally love competition, and the game of Amazon is so cutthroat. And that's because the listings that are actually doing well and making sales always have a target on their back. People are always trying to innovate and improve on what has already been done and offer something even better than the existing sellers. And so some sellers begin to divert into dirty tactics to crush their competition, like leaving fake reviews, which I personally have been a victim of. But to be honest, this is what makes Amazon so exciting for me. I love the idea that you're always forced to keep your eyes on your competitors and people that are up and coming in your market, because it pushes you to keep thinking creatively on how to grow your brand and innovate your products. It's usually under that sort of competitive pressure that you'll perform at your best and remain sharp in your market. So the fourth reason why Amazon FBA is a brilliant business model is how passive it has the potential to be. Emphasis on the word potential, because you can't expect Amazon to be passive from the beginning. There is a real grind involved, especially when you're starting out, because you have to learn every step of the process, which, trust me, will be annoying for you because parts of it are really long and confusing. But if you stick to it long enough with your Amazon journey and find enough winning products, it has the potential to scale to ridiculous heights. And so although it won't ever be 100% passive, because you'll always need to give it some time and attention, it will get you to a point where you can make money even whilst you're sleeping. So basically you won't be exchanging your time for money, but instead you'll be working to maintain a machine that you've built that will consistently print you money every single month. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the challenges of selling on Amazon FBA. And the first is that it is definitely not cheap. Now, I don't care what you've heard online or what the gurus have been telling you, it's not something that you can start with a couple of hundred or 1,000, you just can't. Or even if you did, you'd get crushed by the people who are actually willing to put in thousands in the same product that you did in order to have better images, better videos, better products, and better marketing. So you need to treat it like a real business. This is not dropshipping where you can start with practically nothing. You need money for samples, you need money for software, you need to pay Amazon just to sell on their platform, and you need money to actually buy the products in bulk from your manufacturer that you will then ship to Amazon's warehouse, which, depending on the size and the weight of your products, can cost a lot. Not only that, but sometimes you'll need to spend money on restocking before you've even received the money back from your first batch of stock. So it can be difficult to juggle from a cash flow standpoint, and you'll always need some capital on standby, especially when you're running a business model like this. Now, it goes without saying that more capital and more investment obviously means more risk, but it also means a higher potential reward. It can definitely be painful if you put thousands into a product and then it flops, but that's business and it's the game that you're playing. You can't take wins all of the times, and sometimes you need to know when to cut your losses and move on to the next one. Okay, so the second challenge of selling on Amazon is inventory and stock management. Now, if you've ever ran an Amazon FBA business in the past, then you'll know that this is definitely a challenge, because if you get it wrong, you will absolutely get burnt and you will lose a lot of money. Okay, so let me give you an example. So when I launched my first ever Amazon product, I spent a huge amount of time trying to differentiate myself from the existing competitors with my branding, with my packaging, product images, listing optimization, etc. And so I bought 1,500 units of stock in total, and after I launched the listing, it did so well that it sold out within 8 weeks. Now, this may sound like a great thing, but the problem was that my lead time to get new inventory was 3 full months. And that's because with this product, it takes me 45 days for my supplier to prepare the goods ready to be shipped, and another 45 days to be shipped by sea from China to the US. And I absolutely had to ship by sea because air would have been way too pricey and it would have just killed my margins. So what ended up happening as a result is that I would be out of stock for a full 3 months. And in the meantime, that gave competitors the opportunity to notice my product style, and it didn't take long before they started copying me. So eventually my second batch of products arrive at Amazon's warehouse and I start selling again at a very good pace. But finding that sweet spot to know when to place your next restock order is very hard, but it's very, very necessary. Because if you do it too late, then you end up going out of stock. But if you do it too early, then you may not end up selling all of your products, and then you're stuck with worthless inventory, which causes you a whole other problem. And so you really need to keep track of the rate of your sales, and you have to do it properly, because if you get stock management wrong, I assure you, you will lose money with your Amazon FBA business. Okay, so the third challenge of Amazon FBA is that Amazon will treat you really, really bad. Now, if you've ever already been an Amazon FBA seller, then you will already know this, but seller support absolutely sucks. They are so difficult to deal with at times, and on numerous occasions, Amazon have banned my account for absolutely no reason whatsoever, and you can contact seller support and they'll respond with some automated message that doesn't even indicate that they understand your problem, which can be so pathetic to deal with. And thinking back to it, this is probably the single most stressful part of my Amazon experience. It got so bad and annoying at times that I even sent an email to Jeff Bezos complaining about how bad his seller support was. And before you ask, his email is already public, you can find it on Google. And I know he didn't read it, but it was an opportunity for me to vent. But the bottom line is, they will cause you problems without a shadow of a doubt. And think of it this way, they treat their sellers equally as bad as they treat their customers good. Okay, so the fourth challenge of selling on Amazon FBA is that if you make it to the top, Amazon may just take it all away from you. Now, this isn't necessarily a problem for you when you start out, but you can read about so many businesses that grew huge on Amazon, and Amazon just shut them down and mimicked their product to then sell it themselves through Amazon Basics, which is Amazon's own brand that they sell on their own platform. Now, of course, I'm not saying it happens to everyone, but that was always something in the back of my mind, that if I ever grew on Amazon to a huge scale, they could just take it all away in a blink of an eye. And that thought was very unsettling for me, because you need to remember that you're playing on Amazon's turf, and although it's your business, they hold most of the control, and that thought was always very unsettling for me. So to summarize, here is my final advice. So during my year on Amazon, I had launched a total of 8 products, and 4 of them did super good and the other 4 were a complete flop. Now, all the 4 that did well for me were in the home and kitchen space, so obviously my viewpoint is a little biased, but I would recommend looking for product opportunities in the home and kitchen niche. So within my first few months of selling on Amazon, I already exceeded $20,000 per month in sales, and that really showed me that although Amazon has its challenges, the opportunity it has is so huge because of how many consumers actually use their platform. And so here are 3 things that I would keep in mind if you get started, and these are based on mistakes that I have made in my past. The first is making sure that your margins are super healthy on the product that you select. I had really thin margins on some of my products, and that meant that those products had barely any breathing room. And believe me, that can be a real challenge to deal with, especially as new expenses pop up in your business. So be sure to check out Amazon FBA's calculator, which you can find on their website. I'll put a link in the description down below, and use that to get an idea on what your margin is going to be, and just make sure you have enough room in there for any random fees to pop up. So the second tip I'm going to give you is that you need to perfect your stock management. So since I didn't think about this when I was getting started, it costed me thousands in losses. But in order to make sure you don't make the same mistake, you have to keep track of your sales velocity and make projections of when you think you're likely going to run out of stock, and then use that information to place restock orders at the right time so you never go out of stock at Amazon. So the third and final piece of advice I will share with you is consider getting a coach or a mentor at the start of your Amazon FBA journey. When I started, I hired an experienced seller who, in exchange for $1,000 in total, would guide me through the entire first product launch and teach me every step of the process. Now, this fast-tracked everything for me because I could get things done super fast and learn from their mistakes. And so as they'd give me advice and tips on how to do certain steps, I just make a bunch of notes that I could then refer back to for when I did my second launch. And I know it sounds like a costly option to get a coach and paying them $1,000 up front, but in the end, the lessons you learn may actually stop you from making expensive mistakes. So ultimately, it could end up saving you money. And that's it, guys. So look, if you're stuck trying to decide if Amazon is for you, I would say that if you're looking for ways to make money online in order to replace your income, you're trying to find something that's scalable, something that's manageable long term, then Amazon FBA is a great opportunity for you. But I won't sugarcoat it. There are so many hurdles that you have to jump through in order to get launched on Amazon, but in the end, it absolutely will be worth it. And so if you commit to the graft and don't quit, even if your first product launch doesn't go as planned, then I am certain that you'll start to see returns with your Amazon FBA business. And don't tell yourself that it's oversaturated, because that is absolutely nonsense. There are always going to be ways to innovate within markets and provide something better than what's already out there with just a little bit of creativity. I hope you found some value in this video, guys, and until next time.